Ollie the Hair Ninja here, and I have yet another color correction for you guys. This is my model Amber, and like many clients, she colored her hair by herself at home. She's a natural level 7, and she put a box light blonde color on there. But as you can see, she has some pre-existing artificial pigment. It's a lot darker, so what we're going to do today is make her a little bit blonder, and I'm going to do that by utilizing a foil technique with some bleach lightener, and also breaking the base and moving that up just a little bit. And what we're going to start with first is isolating these darker pieces and getting those lighter. When we're done, she's a bit of a fun personality, so we're also going to add some copper pieces in there and do a really cool haircut. You can see in a later video. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Blondor Lightening Powder by Wella, and we're mixing it 1:2 ratio with 1 part powder with 2 parts developer, and we're using 40 volume because we have some artificial pigment, so we want that to lift very fast so we don't have to wait on it. So I'm going to do a technique called a book page. It's a book page highlight where we're taking vertical sections, and we're going to be going about every ½ inch. So we are creating some lighter pieces. I'm also doing a little bit of a texture weave, so the line is not very noticeable. So if you see on this part, it's mostly light. So we're going to go right in there. But on the pieces that have the artificial pigment, we do need to put all of those in foil so they lift right out. So I'm going to be going about every ½ inch between here. When I'm done, I'm going to go back and pick out the artificial pigment. So about take another ½ inch here. The reason we want the artificial pigment to be inside the foil here is so it can retain the heat that's coming out from her head and lift a little faster. But as with Blondor lightener, we never put it directly under the heat. It's that cool and that good of a product that we don't need to use heat with it. We always try to do things the healthiest way, the least damaging way as possible. So I'm just going to keep working right up the head, vertical sections from ear all the way to ear on the other side. In the crown, the top part of the crown, I'm going to add some more horizontal pieces. So when we're done, she's going to look a lot blonder. So I've completed the vertical sections in the front from radial to radial. Now I've moved to the back section, and we're doing horizontal sections. Once again, texture weave about every ½ inch. This is the last section on top, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. Taking my rat tail comb, doing a little bit of weave, and the purpose of the weave is to integrate the colors so they blend a little bit more, so you don't see such a straight line. So right in here, always use plenty of product. The more product you use, the better your outcome is going to be, better results. Always make sure that you're mixing according to proper instruction. Use a scale, use a whisk. The more that you follow the proper instructions, the better and more consistent outcome you're going to get. My next step is I'm going to go through all around and do a global retouch, and I'm going to hit all of her new growth. She has about ½ inch of new growth left. And I'm also going to be using Colestrum Perfect from Wella, and it's 1:1 mixing ratio. I'm using a 9-stroke 1, which is a level, it's a lightest blonde ash, and with 20 volume. That's going to process for 30 minutes. So I'm just going to keep the product on the top part of your bristle. If you get your brush very dirty, you're going to overlap some unwanted color. So I'm going to go right in there to the new growth. And the more the merrier. So you always want to pick up all the hair from section A to B and hit the front and the back. And I know they call these things brushes, but you use it more like a shovel. So you're shoveling color up all on those ends, and you're really just packing it right in. Almost like a smudger. So I'm going to get in there and just smudge it and kind of force it all through so I don't have any dry spots. So as you can see, I'm just going to repeat this, go through all the foils. I'm starting on the top section. I'm going to work myself all the way through the bottom. Once I get all of this color applied, I'm going to go back and find all these artificial pigment and get these with some Blondor and 40 volume on there so we can start lightening those as well. So as you can see, we've completed with the base color on all the new growth. We did a global retouch. So now that the hair's in the up position, I'm going to go ahead and pull it in a down position. It's going to keep everything nice and neat out of my way. So I'm going to go ahead and start on this side. What I'm looking for is any of those darker pieces, and we're going to pre-lighten them and just put a little bit of, we're going to leave them inside the foil. That way we can retain some heat and get these pretty light. So I'm going to use a different color so I can remember where I put them. And this is the part that's a color correction. So time is money. So any of the steps that you can combine, you want to do in one shot. So I know that her new growth has to sit for 30 minutes. So while that's sitting, there's no reason why we shouldn't combine this step and start pre-lightening all those old artificial pigments in her hair. So I'm going to go through and just kind of pick and choose what needs to be pre-lined and what doesn't. And it's mostly just a long hair. So some of those shorter existing layers in the back, they don't need anything. So I'm just going to do this through the whole front area, maybe a little bit in the top crown. And then we're going to process. We're going to set a timer for 30 minutes and check it. Alright, you can see the final result. The last thing we did was put in the yellow foils. We used Blondor cream lightener with 40 volume, and we went in there, and this is the color correction to pre-line those dark ends that she has, just so you can see what that looks like. So we're going to process now for 30 minutes. Alright, so I'm going to go in with the copper piece. We use 7-stroke 4-3 with some 3-4 intensifier. So basically it's a dark blonde gold red with some gold red intensifier, and what the intensifier is going to do is just pure tone, pure pigment to go in there and make it a lot more vivid. So I'm starting underneath, and I'm going to take this almost all the way down to the new growth, and as I work up through the fringe, I'm going to go further and further down with the color. That way you see a little bit more of that copper peekaboo coming through, and then on the top, it's going to be more of a blonde. So I'm going to take the next foil section, just place it right on top of there. So what I'm going to do here, I'm also going to work, now I'm going down on to about the mid shaft, and I'm taking that brush and I'm just using the corners to kind of add some integration from the blonde to the copper. And this is the last section. Put it right on top. And with these, we're just doing the very ends. So I'm just working a little bit further down. The very ends, take that corner and just blend it right there. Now what I'm going to do is do the side area and take a diagonal back section. I just want to create that grown out feel on the ends with the copper color. And I'm going to do this on both sides. So this one is almost like you're just painting the ends and it's smearing it right up. Just blend it right in. And take the next section, right on top of that, another diagonal back. Same thing, you're just working that color a little bit further towards the end now. It's going to create just a little bit of pop around the face. One last section. And this one we're barely painting the ends. So I'm going to repeat this on the other side. Alright, so I just finished the accent pieces in the fringe and the facial framing. Now I'm going to take the Relight stroke 1/8, which is their demi-permanent color, and I'm going to tone right through the whole thing. I'm going to hit the new growth first and pull right through the ends. I'm going to continue this all the way around, and then where there's actually foil, I'm going to smear it right into there, just like that. So when this is done, we're going to set the timer for 10 minutes and let it process.
I'm not saying you're not saying